Right, on to this week's Street Talk then. And it's going to be a short one. We've got 2 episodes. We've got 5 storylines to talk about. And we're going to be starting off with Oh Baby, which is the Tommy O storyline. And what do you know? Tommy Orpington and Tracy have had it off this week. Who could have seen that coming apart from everybody? I thought this was a really good story. I was a bit on the fence when I heard that it was going to be happening. Yeah, I kind of did know it was going to happen. My predictions were, I did know it was going to happen. But it's been great, hasn't it?
Yes, much better than I would have thought, because I don't like affair storylines.
No.
And I don't want to be... what's the word? No, it's fine to say this. I was like, I don't know if we can really... Tommy Orpington, the actor...
Matt Milbert, no.
Not a regular cast member. No, I love Dr. Gaddis, but I have the same reservations.
If she were to have
putting them in making them a main character, or even a side character, is that going to ruin it? Mm. I don't want that to happen to Dr. Gaddis.
There was nothing to ruin with Tommy Orpington, was there? But Dr. Gaddis, put her in an affair storyline with Steve, and it could just go south.
There's no Tommy Orpington hairstyle fan account.
This is true. We'll talk more about that later. But really great stuff. Then we got the Bailey Byrne story, which is a new one for this week. Could have called it that last week. Are they mad about that?
They're mad at Ed.
Oh yeah, people are mad. People didn't really like Ed anyway.
I know.
We've always really liked Ed.
But what do we think now? We'll have to find out.
Find out in a little bit. Undercover Journalist is about bonking Bethany.
Sexy journalism.
Yeah. Size of House.
Yep.
He's Ebenezer's house. And finally, little bit, the Paul the Plug storyline.
Oh, you've got 5 puns there.
I do my best. None of them are for the ages, but...
Well, I think we should submit a series of puns at the beginning of the year, and they should just work around them.
Oh, I'd love to. I've played the game before where I've made up my own Coronation Street storyline puns and thinking, what would the story be? I think that's a fun game.
And when you played this game,
nice
were you alone?
Yeah, quite possibly. I think I might have even done it on the Facebook group once. Said, come up with the storyline title pun, and what would the story be? I think that would be a legitimate strategy for coming up with fun kind of kooky storylines for Coronation Street. I recommend it for any Corrie writers listening. Come up with the pun first, and then just see where it takes you.
I'm going to say that uncharitable people might say that it might actually work out better. But I wouldn't say that.
I would never say something like that. Right, can I take the Tommy O storyline,
You like
please?
to talk about infidelity?
Yeah.
And football, your 2 favourite things.
I love infidelity and football, yeah. So
that's funny because that was the alternative title for Footballers' Wives.
I'm kind of glad that Steve was out the picture this week because... Sorry, but he was the weak link of this last week, or one of the weak links. Although, we were complaining about Tim and Kevin and Kirk in last week's podcast, and they were actually very tolerable this week.
It's because Steve won there.
Well, yeah, maybe it was, but he's still kicking himself that he's not going to be around when Tommy comes to paint the ceiling later on today, because he's got to go and see his drag of a daughter over in Paris, and he's put in these biscuits, and he just wants to make everything perfect for him, and Tracy's like, what are you doing about it? You're obsessed with this guy.
I got a question.
Clearly is.
Americans, or non-Brits, Canadians, Australians, it's a very cultural thing in this country. If a builder comes around, you buy them biscuits, and you make a big deal about you buying the builder some biscuits, and you eat most of them yourself, and you have to offer them tea throughout the day. What do you do in America when contractors, as you call them, come over?
That's a very good question.
Do you get them a Bud Light?
Yeah, we had people doing something in our cellar last year, and we bought them these plate of biscuits, didn't we?
I do that every
time.
Thing. Whenever we have people working, I make it because I work from home myself. So one year we had people doing our bathroom, and I got them I made a big crate full of ice with all different types of soft drinks, and I paid attention to which ones they preferred, and then I got them more of those. Gets a bit awkward when I become a bit too obsessed with it.
We have got a box of biscuits still sitting by the front door that we were going to give to the bin men as a Christmas present.
But I heard they're not allowed to accept gifts now.
Oh, but that's what they say about teachers as well. It's fine. Yeah, exactly.
Found it in the bin.
Found it in a bin. Do you want one? Do you want a pink wafer? Anyway, Steve heads off to France. Goodbye for now. He's only gone for a week, isn't he? So he's going to be back next week or whenever it is that they catch up with it. But we do get the tease of Kevin and Kirk and Tim still heavily featuring in this storyline because they're there just staring adoringly as their hero Tommy O pulls up on the street. So later on, they've made a start. Tracy brews up, and Tommy says, "No, it's fine. I don't need anything. I prefer to be self-sufficient." They get talking as the day goes on, and the next episode about his ex-wife and how he must really have done a number on him if he thinks that accepting tea and biscuits is a bit too needy. And he's like, yeah, she was a bit of a cow, really. So the seeds are sown fairly early on that he's come out of a bad relationship with a bit of a mardy mare, quite possibly. But I think at this moment he says later that he's not ready to settle down. Not looking for love, but yeah,
and
he's looking for somewhere to stick it.
If he was looking for love, he really would do well to avoid Tracy.
She can be loving. I think in her own special way she loves Steve.
This man was being fought over by two women who have killed their significant others.
Yeah, I know.
He's like a cute duckling swimming around in a piranha pond. He's got no idea the dangers that await him. He thinks he's painting your dado rails, but no, he's dinner. Yeah,
no, you're right. So we then have they're having this chat. Tim and everyone come round. They're like, is Tommy ready to come out to play? I'm not alone in this. They were a lot more tolerable
and
this
funny.
week.
It's actually quite funny. It
actually really was, and I don't know whether it was just Steve wasn't there, or whether it was the writing last week when they were fawning over him, fanboying over him.
Well, there's lots of things that go into like the performances, is the director as well, perhaps.
Yeah. Because they were still being remarkably immature, but they weren't just kind of chanting at him. But they were doing a bit of chant. I don't know what it was.
It's also us too, like, depending on what day it is.
What mood we're in. Well, I was perfectly ready to see as much of this as possible this week, really. But anyway, Tracy sends them off on their way and tells Tommy that he can use the house as a hideout should he want to over the next few days. So, end of the day, Tracy's chatting with Tommy again about their useless spouses, and Tommy's like, yeah, my wife, she didn't care about me, it was her indifference to me that finished the relationship off. Nobody's gonna own me again, he says. No woman, not anybody.
Is this not off-putting to women?
No, so some women
Tracy doesn't seem to find this off-putting, but if a man starts boasting to me about how his wife was a bitch and it was all her fault that the relationship went wrong, I'd be really super suspicious.
Tracy thinks that all women apart from her are bitches.
Yeah.
So she's just like,
she's not a girl's girl. That's
because you haven't met me before. She's not what?
She's not a girl's girl.
She is not a girl's girl. Oh, well, apart from Paula Martin that time.
Well, that was just for story purposes.
She'd experimented in prison before. Anyway, Kurt comes round again. Tracy sends him off again. They end up sharing a beer and a bit of a song in the garden. And right from this point, I was like, they really do have
in the garden.
Yeah, they have a bit of a sing together. I don't remember what they sing, but they have Oh no, it was in the kitchen, wasn't it? They go to the garden for a bit, and they're in the kitchen. Yeah, they really do have some great chemistry, and I'm just being a massive hypocrite with this story because nearly a year ago, when Tracy couldn't wait to drop her drawers for Damon, I was slagging her off something rotten and saying how can she's unfaithful. What as old slapper that Sarah Louise is. And I really do like Sarah as a character, but even so, she deserved that. But with Tracy, I'm not feeling that at all. Are you feeling? I mean, I don't think you felt as mad at Sarah as I did, but what do you think about Tracy?
Me about?
Do you feel bad? Do you think that Tracy is a bad person? Are you finding it difficult to watch this because you're thinking, no, Sarah, Tracy, okay, why would you do this? Why would you break up you and Steve? Oh, I can't believe it. Steve's better off without you. Or are you thinking, oh, this is quite kind of fun and racy?
This is where I get this weird double standard where sometimes I'm saying, well, they've written it's an affair story, so she's got no choice. And sometimes I'd be like, why is this character making this decision? They're stupid and wrong. And in this case, I am thinking like, oh, Tracy's got to have an affair with him. They've written it down now, so she might as well enjoy it.
Certainly looked that way. Even like with Sarah, I didn't care particularly about her and Adam as a couple. Like if she goes off with Damon and leaves Adam, whatever, I'm not invested in that Barlow partnership whatsoever. But actually, Tracy and Steve, I am invested in, so it makes even less sense that I don't care one jot about this little affair storyline.
No, I feel the same way about it. I think it's because we're supposed to. I think I get the impression I'm supposed to be like, oh, Sarah, so taboo and sexy. Oh, look at her with bad boy Damon. Oh, no, that's terrible. And it doesn't help that she's like, Damon, oh, my pants fell down. Whereas these are like, it's a bit more, I could say mature.
Yeah.
It's a bit more like just two people going, gosh.
Do you want to do it?
Yeah, like, it's not worked out for me. What's happened? That's the thing. It's more kind of like steamy with Damon and Sarah. It's like, we're animalistically attracted to one another biologically. Yeah. Oh, we cannot resist.
Ripping each other's clothes off.
Your body's giving off pheromones. I cannot resist. Whereas like, ugh. Like, I'm not interested in that. It's boring.
I mean, there was definitely a bit of lust between Tracy and it wasn't exactly, he didn't sweep her off her feet with a bunch of roses or anything, but
yeah, and also I think it's because we don't know very much about Tommy O, do we?
No.
And Damon is just such a bad character. Like, not, I don't mean he's like bad to watch or anything. He's like a naughty man.
He's a very naughty boy.
And he's very complicated. And so when Sarah gets into a relationship with him, you're thinking, oh, this is just going to make plots for months now, and I'm going to have to watch them having heart-to-hearts
and crying.
Whereas this just feels quite uncomplicated and a bit more. Less baggage, isn't there? There's a lot less baggage here.
And in a way, I'm kind of thinking, Steve deserves this because he's a useless husband. But then I feel bad because it's not his fault that he's useless. He's just been written that way.
I don't know where this story is going at all. I don't know what the fallout's going to be.
No,
but I can just imagine it just being a silly joke by the end of the story. If Steve's like, oh well, I'm Eskimo brothers now with my hero. Oh great! I don't really care. I guess I'd shag him too if he'd have me.
Me and Tommy rub noses. Tracy and Tommy rub other bits.
Yeah. So I can imagine this turning out to be not a big deal and kind of funny.
I mean, he's clearly going to find out at some point, isn't he?
Is his heart going to break 50-50 on it at the moment? If it did, fine. Whatever. That makes more sense. But the character of Steve is in no way a character I take seriously. So I guess I also don't feel bad about stuff like this that happens to him because he'll just gurn and get on with his day. Adam's been brooding and falling out of taxis for months over Sarah. I don't feel like that's going to happen to Steve.
Simon Gregson has proven multiple occasions in the past, how long has he been in the show? 30 years? More than that he can do brilliant. Yeah. He's a superb performer.
He's dramatic.
But the way that he's been written at the moment, he's just a duff joke.
Well, we always talk about what they do to lobotomise middle-aged women, but Steve is the example of a man who's
the man Gale, basically. Yeah. And I think when he finds out, he's going to be like, what you what you've been I can't imagine a serious reaction from him, unfortunately. So I kind of prepared myself for that, but I don't think he's going to break up with Tracy over it. And he's obviously, like you said, going to be torn between the fact that it's Tommy O. He's probably going to ask whether he wouldn't mind a throughsome.
Yeah, I know.
Stephen, you just don't know with somebody like him. He probably would like to show off. Yeah, I'm in a throuple with Tommy Orpington. Stick that in your pipe and smoke it, Tim.
It wouldn't be my wife shagged Tommy Orpington. It'd be Tommy Orpington fancies my wife.
Yeah.
That makes me cool. I've got something he wants.
Well, I wonder whether when it comes out, it's only going to partly come out first, and he's going to realise that Tommy is making eyes at Tracy, and he's going to maybe be showing off by saying, like you just said, hey Tommy, Tommy fancies my wife, I've got the prize. But then he's going to realise what's actually happened. I hope that they don't split up over it, because I do enjoy the McDonald's together.
But I also can't see Tracy and Tommy Orpington being a new couple in. I also don't think Tommy Orpington's going to be in the show for longer than a few months.
No, the character has said, I'm not interested in commitment. But equally, he also said, I only, let's do it once. And by the end of Wednesday's episode, he was making eyes at her, maybe up for a second half, But I don't. It's just strangely fun.
Silly.
Strangely fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Tommy's saying, sorry, I've lost where we are now. Back in the kitchen. Oh yeah, Tommy's saying we're not swans, we don't mate for life. And they're still swanning about later, and she's saying, you owe me for all the times that we couldn't go to fun places because Steve had to watch the football. This is when they're folding the sheet. He's getting ready to go, isn't he? And
this annoyed me.
This
is classic.
Mouths nearly touch as they fold the sheet together.
This is classic Coronation Street,
Corrie
and they've
folding.
been doing it since the beginning of the show, where they start with good intentions, folding something, and then they just bundle it into a big.
You have made your stance on Corrie folding clear on numerous episodes
and
of the
then
podcast.
throw it on the floor.
Yeah, it's true. Look out for it. If you start to notice it, it'll be worse than the empty cups.
There are very few people that can actually fold things and maintain the integrity of the folded item throughout a scene. And yeah, it's true.
I bet Maureen Lipman could.
Probably.
That's how you know you got a top class actress.
I know people
there.
complain about empty cups, but as we saw this week, quite often they look empty, but they're not empty.
Did we
There
have
was
a half
somebody
empty?
that drank out of a cup that looked like it wasn't full, but
Well, it might have been.
most of the time when the people say that they don't have anything in their cups, they do actually have something in their cups. And I know that it annoys people that work on it that people say there's nothing in their cups because there is actually something in their cups. They're not that good at acting. They have to have something in their cup.
Do you think that do you think they have little mini acting workshops in Coronation Street? Can you imagine, like, on the no staff notice board?
Yeah.
There's like, so-and-so, William Roach is running a class at 2:30 tomorrow afternoon on how to convincingly hold an empty cup of coffee.
Always tip your cup towards the camera so they can see you actually do have tea in there.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, anyway, so Wednesday's episode.
Well, remember we watched
watched
a scene with Samir and Mikey where they had food prepared for them that was real food, and they never even used it in the scene, but they had a whole meal that was cooked.
Yeah, in that scene, Mikey did definitely have an empty cup of coffee though, or tea that Samir gave him.
Yeah, but he didn't drink out of it.
He did a fake slurp. Definitely did. Right, Wednesday's episode.
It's not as easy to spot an empty cup as you think.
Wednesday's episode.
What can they do about it? I don't know.
Wednesday's episode. Kirk and Kevin are getting very excited about the possibility of meeting up with Tommy again today after he blew them out the previous episode.
Blew them out?
Yeah, saying, go
Do you
away.
mean...
Blew them off. Blew them away. I don't know how I'm getting into rescue territory with this.
I've never heard blew them out.
Maybe it's just a Michael thing. Michael Bailey.
Is that what you do to me?
No, I don't. I invite you in. I don't know.
Confusing.
Right. Tommy arrives at the house, starts to decorating again. She cops an eye of his bum. Basically, the flirty banter
got a dirty
resumes.
Bum.
Yeah, you did. He had a painter's bum, didn't he?
And when they cuddled at the end of the episode, I was thinking, if you're going to get just paint all down your front.
Maybe that's how she gets found out in the end. Paint
She's
flecks
got
on
paint
her
on her
boobs.
boobs.
Yeah. So the development with this relationship on Wednesday's episode was that Toya gets involved. Toya's not had anything to do recently other than serve drinks at the bistro. Well, this week she does. She goes to the flower shop, gets chatting to Mary and saying, I don't need men anymore. I've got rid of Spider. I've killed off Imran. I'm fine. Apart from that Tommy Orpington, he's a bit of a riot, isn't it?
She does fancy him.
She does.
Why?
I don't know.
Do you think she just likes tall men?
I really don't know.
Because Spider was tall, wasn't he?
Oh,
Imran's very tall. And so is Tommy Orpington. And I'm going to say, not a lot of tall men on the cast. So that's probably why she's not, falling for anybody else.
That is true. I don't know how old Tommy Orpington is, but she does.
What's that got to do with
Well,
it?
no, just that Toya generally in the past has preferred an older man, hasn't she?
Imran's younger.
Oh yeah, of course he is. He's much younger than what we're talking about. She'll have anyone to build Toya.
Anyone
as this
she
proves.
can climb up.
Basically, yeah. Anyway, she is very interested to hear that he's divorced. I just don't think that he's her type at all.
What will they talk about?
Yeah.
Paint swatches? No.
Tommy, I think, is only interested in football. Imran, I don't believe, was into football.
I'm going to say...
Toya certainly wouldn't care.
I'm going to say that a man who pursued professional football and then went into a practical career is not going to be a fly-by-night philosopher or any great intellectual. And I'm sorry if that's offensive, but I just think there's lots of other things you could do as a job. And I know that you get a lot of money as a tradesperson, but I just think that after having had a very physical career, you wouldn't jump into something else that's going to wreck your body if you could use your brain for something. And so Toya thinking that she's going to have anything to talk to Tommy Orpington about is kind of adorable.
She Tracy hears about this and strides over to see Toya, who's getting mega flirty with him outside number one later. And but She's interested. I suppose, he does it. You said they've got nothing to talk about, but he does do charity work, doesn't he? And Toya is interested in that at least.
Gosh, how annoying.
So
What
maybe that's how they'd
couple
while
they'd be.
away the winter
Can you
evenings,
imagine?
talking about how they're raising money for charities.
Yeah, can you imagine hanging out with them two? Really insufferable.
Tracy comes over, and once Tommy goes inside, she put Toya off by saying that he's a really bad decorator, or I don't know. But it worked, and that was the end of that.
I think she's saying something like he's a bit of a flirty Bertie.
Did he?
I don't remember.
I don't know, but anyway,
He's not very good at.
Do you think that's it? Was this a let's get Toya out of the bistro scene? What can she do? Let's
Toya's
have a
got to be
fancy.
in some episodes this month. What can we do?
Would you like to see a Toya versus Tracy? I kind of. In a way I would, but also I kind of know that Tracy would wipe the floor with her, and I don't want to see that. They are a little bit. I mean, they have both, as you said, they've both murdered their significant others, so they've got.
Yeah, but Tracy
more to
really
them than
thought
you'd
it
think.
through, whereas Toya's more impulsive. It shows that she's not got that killer instinct.
No,
that
but
Tracy has.
maybe if they're locking horns, having a bit of a cat fight, and Toya just instinctively
Toya
gouges
needs
her
to
eyes
leave
out.
People alone who have vans that she can get locked in.
Yes, I agree. Anyway, so that's the end of that. I've not looked at any previews of this story, but I am not expecting that particular angle to go anywhere. Although, if Tommy's staying on the street, it would be interesting to see, does Toya remark on the fact that Tracy recommended him to Sally? And I don't know. I'm not expecting anything. So, they go inside, Tracy and Tommy, more flirting. Tommy's fixed the kitchen cupboard. Oh, what a guy. He could do many things. He could do things for you, couldn't he, Gemma? Tommy Orpington. We have got a faulty kitchen cupboard. I've done my best, but my talents at handymanship only stretch so far.
I could definitely seduce somebody for a day.
Do you reckon?
Yeah,
to get some odd jobs done.
I need somebody to sort out the
somebody to put on my shelves.
hallway. Yeah, the shelves need putting up. We need somebody to sort out the hallway light. We need somebody to sort out the outside light and the decking light. And we
have had a list of things to do with this house since
somebody
we moved in a couple of years ago. We haven't got very far in it.
To go under the sink storage.
Yeah.
There's a leak under the sink that needs to be sorted out.
Well, hang on a minute. Tommy, he can fix a shelf. He can fix the cupboard, but I don't know whether he could do all that. But maybe he could, because he's as you say, he's a proper guy, isn't he? He's a real man. Yeah. I mean...
And he's so charitable.
But...
Maybe he'd do it for free if he's so into charity.
Tell you what he couldn't do, though, Gemma. Couldn't do a podcast. But he got no idea about audio editing. Well, no, I don't know anything about the editing side.
Before anybody...
Yeah, but he couldn't make notes for 10, 11 years about a programme, make an excellent podcast about it, so...
Before anybody makes any comments about feminism and how I should do this all myself, I could do everything myself around this house, but then what was the point of having a husband? I already do 90% of the things that need doing. All you have to do is take the bins out. So before anybody comes at me and says that I should put my own shelves up, you can just do one, because I already do enough.
We co-fixed that light bulb earlier, didn't we?
It wasn't just a normal light bulb. In case you're thinking it's just a normal light bulb, you had to unscrew a whole fitting system to get into that.
I had to remove washers and everything. It was a tough job.
It was really hard work.
Might have even given Tommy Orpington a bit of a 5-minute head scratch to figure that one
and
out.
Also,
although he probably wouldn't have had to have stood on a stool like I did, to be fair.
We can decorate.
We are sitting in a room that we decorated.
Yeah, we don't need Tommy Orpington to decorate. We need advanced skills, which it obviously doesn't have. Also, we need somebody to plug up holes downstairs, please.
Anyway, talking about plugging up holes,
and I also need to fix the fence.
Things are getting moving quite quickly between Tracy and Tommy. Basically, he's kind of saying they're just proper flirting, and she says, "Oh, I'm not interested." He tries to move in. She's like, "No, I can't." And he's like, "Oh, maybe I'll give Toya a ring then." And then she grabs him and goes in for a snog. He's like, "You're mine. You're not going back to that bored Toya." So Tommy immediately comes to his senses and is like, I can't do this. I don't need the aggro that this is going to bring. And Tracy's like, no, just a kiss, it's fine. He's like, no, I can't dabble with a married woman. If we were to do anything, if we did, let's
I did it by O.J. Simpson.
Yeah, let's have a thought experiment here. If that happened, it'd have to be a one-off. No strings. What time did you say your dad was back again? So they go
She's
upstairs.
like, he's not my real dad, baby.
This is the one thing I was thinking throughout the whole of this. Ken was remarkably absent throughout this, wasn't he? Considering he, for most of the time, he's just got his bum lodged in that chair. Where was he throughout any of this? And where was Amy? Was she? I don't even.
What's she doing now?
I know that she's doing a shoulder volunteering, but is she at university? Yes, maybe. I don't know. I just think that it was very convenient that they had the house alone just because one member of the family's bogged off to France. But anyway, they come down later and you know what they've been up to because they're doing up their shirt/blouse, and that's soap code for they did it.
They did it. These dirty Berties.
Yeah. Tommy says, look, remember, that was a one-time thing. Nobody can ever know, etc., etc., etc. And then Ken comes home, right on cue. I love this scene with Ken and Tommy, where Ken was trying to be like super polite with the decorator, wasn't he? And he was telling him all about. He was mostly talking to him about David, his brother, being a footballer and back in the day. And Tracy's just like, he looks like she wants the ground to swallow Ken up, I suppose, because this conversation just needs to leave. Tommy needs to go, but Ken's just uber politeness at this decorator. It tickled me. It was quite funny. So he finally manages to escape, does Tommy? Strips out onto the street. Tim's there, who beats about the bush for a little bit before asking him out for a drink. He's like, oh, Tommy, you're my absolute number one. Please, Tommy, come and have a drink with me. Let me make up for that time they hurt your leg, Tommy. Come on, Tommy. And Sally's kind of coming out of the bistro and just rolls her eyes at him as she goes past. Sally's was great on Wednesday's episode because she's just been fed up with how ridiculously fangirlish Tim's been about Tommy. But by the end of the episode, we're in the pub. She was having a lovely time. That scene in the pub at the end of the episode.
It was a couple classic.
We want more Rover scenes. Families, workmates, neighbours coming together in the pub, and that's exactly what we got there. Yes, it was confined to one booth, but it was great. It was a load of fun. So it was Tim, it was Kevin, it was Sally, Beth, Kurt comes along to join the fun. Then Sally eventually gets talking to Tommy about freshening up their bedroom, who are misses, and before we know it...
There's a lot of innuendo.
Just a tad. Before you know it, it seems like Tommy's sticking around for a little while longer. Then Tracy comes to the pub and basically they're going to do it again, aren't they? He's going to be decorating the Metcalfes just opposite, just across the road.
He's obviously picked that job so that he can spend more time with her.
Yeah, she's
like,
she's made her impression on
him.
him.
Thinking of you all afternoon. And then she's like, why don't you have any kids?
Oh yeah,
that was really weird.
Yeah, I can't remember. I wasn't losing interest at that point, but I think I just missed what happened. But yeah, Tommy can't have kids.
Why don't you have any children? And he says, I can't. And she's like, phew. I can phone Dr. Gaddis and cancel that emergency contraception appointment then. I
don't need this to be a story where Tracy gets pregnant. I really, really don't. And I think if it does, then it's like, it just makes it automatically a lot more boring. Tracy isn't going to have Tommy's baby, is she? Clearly she's not. I'm not interested in this to be should I have an abortion or not? Maybe, imagine Steve
raising Tommy Orpington's baby.
Actually, that could be quite funny. Tracy's like, we need to get rid of this baby. Sorry, Steve.
2 men and a baby.
Yeah, and Steve would be like, no. Yeah,
Don't abort it, please.
I could be the dad of Tommy Orpington's baby.
What if it's a boy? Ridiculous. What if it's a boy? And then it grows up to be the striker for Weathy County. It's too much of a big opportunity to pass by. Amy's just a boring girl. And she's just related to me.
I would say there could be scope in that, but I've just got a feeling I'd be watching it rolling my eyes at Steve.
But the fact that they brought this up, like, why don't you have children? It just felt like that is nothing you ask anybody ever. Never say to somebody, why don't you have children? You're not going to like the answer most of the time. It's going to be really tragic or it's going to make you look like an asshole. Mind your business and imagine all the reasons you could possibly think of, because there's not really loads of them.
Well, I mean, ours is, we've got a cat. What else do we need?
We've got a cat and a podcast. There's no time for children.
Time. I'm a teacher. All these things combined that, yeah. But, I know, how old's Tracy now? 45, 46 or so?
And also that tragic water slide accident.
What? That has not happened. We could if we wanted to. We just choose.
We just haven't even tried. Could have 10 now if I wanted to.
Could you?
Turn it off.
No. We need to give the fans what they want. Anyway,
maybe they want a new generation of podcasters. You never thought of that, did you? Who's going to carry on?
Who will carry on the lineage once we're gone?
We need to train them up.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll just adopt one.
Well, I try my best to get the children that I teach at school interested in Coronation Street by dropping it into lessons at least, once a week
If
or
Uncle
so.
Albert has 3
nobody's come up to me yet and
bags
said
of apples.
Yeah, nobody's come up to me yet and said, Mr. Hudson, you said that Coronation Street is really good. It is.
You.
And I was like, yes. That's the light bulb moment of teaching.
Hooray!
Forget I've suddenly got somebody to learn their times tables or understand what the subjunctive mood is in literacy.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, that's fine. You've only got a degree in English, but I know you don't do it. But no, I have got a child into Coronation Street. That is all I got into teaching for.
Michael, do they like gladiators?
Yes. I've had a few conversations. I think my street cred in school just up a slither.
Because you watched it
this week.
Did you tell them you watched it get filmed?
Oh no, I could make it go even higher than that. I told her I was actually able to get somewhat down with the kids this week and have conversations with who their favourite gladiator has been.
Children when I was young, they used to call me Wolf. So I'm hairy.
They wouldn't get it. No, I have got another story about that conversation that I need to tell you later, but won't tell you on the podcast. I'll tell you, I've got an off-the-air story about that.
We have no secrets from our listeners.
Anyway, that was a lot of fun. I've written down a quote here, but I can't remember where it came from, which was, I promise not to scream when you fart and waft the duvet.
But then you've written Uncle Albert under it.
I don't think it was about Uncle Albert. No, I think that was something about Tracy saying about the vows that they made. I don't know, but I still don't buy the fact that they've been going through these terrible marital problems off screen.
No.
Yes, Steve is clearly a bad husband, but she knew what she was getting herself into. He's not changed that much in the past 5 years.
Can I add in that you didn't need to construct an elaborate alibi for why Tracy's head would get turned by Tommy Orpington?
No, they really didn't.
They never normally bother with this, and honestly, there are plenty of women out there who haven't murdered their boyfriends who would find Tommy Orpington enough of a head turner to go against even the most harmonious of marriages. And she's a flighty lady, isn't she, Tracy? She's got form for all this kind of stuff. We don't need to, 5 throwaway lines.
The fact that she just randomly ended up in bed with Paula one New Year's Eve a couple of years ago proves that you don't need all that.
No.
And I don't need the serious relationship conversation between her and Steve. We got a excellent example of that with Tyrone and Fizz when he went off with Alina. Sorry, you can't top that scene with these two. I don't believe. Unnecessary.
Let's move on then.
Yeah, but it was nice that Uncle Albert got a reference, like you said.
He got a shout out.
Yeah. Right, that's that story. Now it's time for the Burn Bailey Burn story.
Oh dear, what's happened
This
here?
is good on Monday.
So on Monday, I can't remember.
What?
Right, so on Monday, Dee-Dee's like, oh,
this is just the episode after the fire, because the fire was last Friday.
Have said that this payout because of the fire could wipe off all your debts. That's brilliant. But just to check, you didn't do this on purpose, did you? And he's like, no, Michael could have died. And Dee-Dee's like, well, you wouldn't lie to me, Dad. You haven't got form for it at all. Swain gives Craig some paperwork about the fire that she thinks he'll find interesting, which is obviously the fire report with some information. Over at number 3, Ed and Dee-Dee are talking about what they can do to help Michael with his sudden onset of coughing. Because he's back, isn't he back? He's happy
he's
that
back
Ed's home. It's a happy family. Everything's looking up.
Michael's forgiven Ed, hasn't he? They had a lovely makeup scene in the hospital. Yeah,
they do
each other's makeup.
There's a knock at the door.
This colour would really suit your lips, Michael.
Oh, I like this blue eyeshadow on your dad. It's Craig. Craig's come to ruin everyone's day because that's all he does.
Bloody Craig this week. Bloody Craig.
He says, come down the station. Swain wants to ask you some questions about this. And he's like, oh, I'm confused. I told you everything. And Craig says, nope, you have to come. Dee-Dee's going to go with you. And she's his solicitor.
What I want to know this week is, where was Joel? Why was Joel not involved in this at all?
Joel was with his girlfriend. Lauren.
Lauren, yes, of course. No, he's
What's he up to?
strangely absent.
He could have
considering how big a Bailey week this was.
Honestly, it would have made more sense if he had been Ed's lawyer.
Because he's kept secrets from before.
Well, listen, it's not appropriate for you to be a dad solicitor. Let me do it. So you lift this burden from you.
They didn't. Did they fall out over him knowing about Ed's gambling? Is that why we don't have Joel?
Do not remember.
I don't remember anything.
He keeps making bread sauce and she's sick of it.
Maybe that's
Dee-Dee goes with him. In the interview later, Ed is saying, I did drop a bottle of white spirits, but I don't remember saying a fire.
He just says, yeah, there was like I thought, yeah, white spirits,
well, it's
not.
Yeah, it's
you're
like
gonna get that.
saying, did you leave a bunch of nails on the stairs for her hilarious Home Alone style escape where Michael skewered his foot when he was trying to run away? Yeah, I probably did because it's a builder's yard. There's going to be white spirits and nails and blocks of wood and fire everywhere.
But he didn't clear it.
Well, he said, I forgot to clear it up. And then Swain's like, we've got information here that you've been visited by bailiffs because you've got gambling debts. He's like, yeah, but that's not why I had a fire.
That reminds me, every morning this week when I've got into my car to go off to school, I've had a lovely waft of coffee. It's been lovely. Gemma spilled some coffee in the car.
It's so annoying.
When was it? Sunday? And we thought we got it all up. But yeah, it's just lovely and coffee. It gives me a bit of a caffeine boost.
In there.
It's nice. Honestly, it's nice.
Okay.
So far, it's
At least it was only a cortado, which is like the smallest coffee you could possibly ever buy.
Yeah, so this is my little plug for Costa's
no, it's horrible.
hot milkshakes, which is the special that they're doing at the moment. That is such a Michael thing.
It really is.
I saw the sign for that. I was like, I have to have one of them. So far, I've had the salted caramel, or was it the caramel coffee fudge? I don't know. Pretty good. And then earlier this week, the white chocolate and strawberry. Very, very tasty. It doesn't taste like hot chocolate. It tastes like it's been thickened with something that I don't want to think too much about. But yeah, I've got the chocolate one to go. I mean, I hope they keep it.
I hate
Gets
Costa.
the thumbs up from me.
Costa thumbs down.
Yeah, you hate Costa coffee.
Costa's awful.
It's
just so milky, and I know everyone loves to rag on. Everyone loves to say, Starbucks is the worst coffee in the world, but it tastes like coffee. Costa just tastes like milk. And so I have the cortados that anyone can have. But Nero is the best one for coffee.
Yeah, but I only like the cold ones mostly, the frappe, frappuccino.
Yeah, but you just, the milkshakes.
I'm really fed up with the Starbucks ones because I've been having them same flavours for 15 years.
In Pulp Fiction where they're like, I want a $5 milkshake. What makes a milkshake worth $5?
I do not remember
like now
that
whenever we go to any coffee shop, it's like, oh yeah, £5-6 for a milkshake for a grown man, please.
I am such a child when it comes to that.
Well, it keeps you young, doesn't it?
I don't have my alcohol vices.
It's not very good for your cholesterol, though.
I know. Gemma pointed out to me just a few days ago because I've been really proud of myself.
You were
Since the beginning of the year, not a square or bar of chocolate has passed these lips in my endeavours to get my cholesterol down. I know, for me,
because
that's really, really good. I'm a massive chocolate pig, and we've got some still in the cupboard as Christmas presents from the children before Christmas. There's tons of chocolate, and I have not had a single one because that doctor nurse woman told me, don't have any chocolate. But then I spoilt it and I said, well, I can't remember whether you pointed it out.
Because you were drinking a hot chocolate.
I have been sometimes drinking hot chocolate and having Costa's hot milkshakes and a few other things, but not as much. It's got to count for something, right?
You have a hot chocolate every other day.
No, I do not.
You do.
Lies. But Gemma made me some... This is like the most off-topic podcast we've done for a while. People don't mind. You don't mind, do you? Do you mind? You can skip it if you mind. Gemma got me this lovely, lovely Christmas present.
I didn't get it for you.
No, you made it. Gemma made me some hot chocolate mix, which apparently was an awful lot of work.
Serious Eats.
Yeah.
I had to caramelise sugar.
Yeah. This isn't just, grate a bit of chocolate and there you go, happy Christmas.
It's got a whole bar, 2 bars of chocolate in it. I had to order some special French cocoa powder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's lovely. So I've been showing my appreciation throughout the month of January.
But I had to have it because then it shows how much I love it. Yeah. But it's like, you don't have to drink it every other day.
It's
right, okay.
But anyway, what were we talking
about?
I can't remember.
Bailiffs.
How we got into
Don't know.
that.
Because you said the car smell like coffee, but I don't know why.
Oh, it's because Ed had spilled his white spirits and it made the builder's yard smell like white
At
spirits, and that then led...
Coffee isn't flammable.
I'm really sorry. I'm really, really sorry. This is why we should always record the podcast at 11 o'clock at night, because we just want it to be over.
Right, so Swain says, look, bailiffs came round and he says, yeah, I've got gambling debts, but I didn't set fire to anything. And then Ed and Dee-Dee are on their way out and they run into Craig in the lobby, and he does not believe that Ed is innocent.
Is it called the lobby in the police station?
Yeah.
Why not?
And he's like, we're going to keep looking for evidence until we find the truth. Back at home, Michael's changed his mind again. He's mad at Ed once more, decided that he set the fire on purpose, and he wishes Ed had died because all their lives would be better without him.
Yeah, because he's hauled up to the police station, and Michael has gone right back to,
Dee-Dee and Ed go to the cafe, and she says, Michael's going to come around, don't worry about it. But then at number 3, Michael dobs him into Aggie, and we basically just find out that Aggie's just washed her hands of him, and she's not coming back.
Yeah, that's what she says.
She's done with him.
It's a real shame. I don't know whether Aggie's going to come back. This seems to be a way of saying... Don't
think about her anymore.
Yeah, I do not believe that Aggie would just say, I'm not coming back again. Ed and Aggie were a real solid couple. They were fab together.
Belabor it too much.
So I hope that we see her again.
Ed's very full on about this and says, without your mum in my corner, what's the point? But this seems to overwhelm him a little bit, because when Dee-Dee and Ed are sitting by themselves, he says, I told the police everything I said was true. I didn't start the fire, but also...
I didn't stop it.
I didn't stop it. In a minute of madness, I saw the fire start. I realised this is quite handy. So I just went into the chip shop. But this was funny, because when we actually saw him, I swear to God, he just looked like, la, 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 la. Why was he acting in that moment when only we were watching him? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, when he drops the chips?
When we actually see him, he's walking along without care in the world, and then he sees the fire and drops his chips.
No, he doesn't. It's Damon tells him it's the fire. It's Michael who happens to see the fire, so he had to put on an act for Damon.
Oh, well, I just find it very convenient. I think that this feels like...
He just got confused, because what you're supposed to do when there's a fire is stop, drop and roll, but he thought he went to the chip shop for a roll.
Right.
Yeah.
It makes perfect sense. Yeah, I wish there'd been...
Or a balm, as they call them up there.
Or something. I don't know. I felt like I think that they did a trick here. I don't like it when they do this.
I didn't mind, because I really enjoyed the twist. Since Friday's episode, I've been thinking, did he know? Did he not know?
What I mean by that is a look that could be interpreted one way or another, which they can normally do quite well. But this was like, there's no way he knew that was going to happen.
I didn't. You must have enjoyed the twist though, because I was so willing to be on Ed's side, and despite everything that he's been done, and that the internet has taken against Ed in this story,
likes him now.
He has been, some might say, a fairly terrible father, because he did steal all the Christmas presents, including Little Glory's Wending House. But someone has to say, no, go on, Ed. It's a disease. It's not your fault. I feel bad for him.
I can't help but feel bad for him, honestly. I
cannot help but feel bad for Ed. I am on his side with this. He's got me. So when it turned out, he was like, oh no, I did know about it. I was like,
Well, listen.
Yeah, little tinker.
Dee-Dee's not happy about this, but he tries to defend himself and say that Daniel and Bertie, he knew they weren't in the flat, so he wasn't worried about killing somebody.
Very convenient.
And he says he was going to call 999, but Damon beat him to it. And Dee-Dee's like, oh, you made me feel guilty earlier, you're stupid, you're selfish, now you want me to keep your secret, well, I'll do it, but just because of my mum, I'm not going to put her through this, finding out that you let this happen. Mm. I do feel sorry for Ed, I'm sorry. I know that loads of people won't, and it really is one of those things that just boils down to whether you like the character or not.
Yeah,
I know it's not super popular. I don't think that this is going to help.
No, not at all.
I don't think that's what they really, care about.
I'm just pleased that finally, at last, something has genuinely got me interested in this story, because, we were a bit down on this story in the run-up to Christmas, and we're thinking, is this really what we want to be gripped by as we're tucking into our turkey on Christmas Day? It's not the A story. It's not. You know, but yeah, it's great now. I'm loving this.
The thing is also that I'd much rather this was the family secret than he's gambled again. You know, I secretly won some money or I lost some money. Is it
like the gambling story is kind of stealth trying to teach you about something, but this is just plain old good old
drama.
fun
She's
arson.
Sophie drama. Somebody let something burn down and nearly killed their son, and there's a secret. That's more interesting than he went to the casino again. Well, I don't care.
I'm enjoying watching Michael as he's just going from one extreme to the other, and he's getting real hot under the collar.
He's getting
about
dramatic
this,
with it, isn't he?
Michael Bailey is getting dramatic this week. Yeah. He really, really is.
Right, so on Wednesday,
I feel bad for him as well. This is one of those great stories where I do feel bad for everybody involved.
Yeah, I do.
Joel. And
Joel's not in it.
Joel's not in it, so I'm fine. And that's what you want. You don't want a story where you're indifferent to characters, and I am in no way indifferent to any of the main players.
And again, I don't know how much of that is just down to the story and how much of it is down to whatever residual like you had for the Baileys. But I do like the Baileys, so I find this interesting. So on Wednesday, Dee-Dee's told James, and Mike, Ed's feeling sorry for himself, and Dee-Dee not sympathetic.
Yeah, it turned out that Michael had phoned James himself, and Dee-Dee gets a call from him, I think, to say, "Tell me what's happened, what Dad done now." So yeah, everybody knows. Michael's just telling all and sundry that their dad's a massive pain in the ass.
So Michael's still working at the factory, and Craig goes in and says, "Oh, we got the report on the thing." Why is he telling Michael? It's nothing to do with him. So he says,
it's completely nothing to do with Michael, is it? Apart from he was the victim, almost.
Actually, faulty extension cables wasn't the white spirits after all. And so when Craig goes and tells Ed, he kind of looks a bit disappointed, and he smiles, but when Craig leaves, his smile falls. Because I guess he was like hoping that maybe if he got caught out, then he would be punished in some way. But Michael and Ed sit down at the table, and Michael's like, "Sorry, Dad, I blamed you, but it was really just faulty electrics." So it looks like he's got away with it. But when he talks to Dee-Dee about this later, Dee-Dee's like, "Look, God's thrown you a lifeline. Take advantage of it. Don't complain about the fact that Aggie hasn't forgiven you. You just need to move on now."
So, faulty electrics. That's quite handy. I don't know where I'm going with this. I don't even know why I said that.
No, well, whatever.
So yeah, has he got away with it? Because you're right. When he was in the cafe, he looked guilty. He looked like he wanted to confess. As long as somebody knows
that he did it on purpose, he hasn't got away with it, because Dee-Dee knows this, and Dee-Dee is like, if you see Dee-Dee in real life, run away. Run away from her, because you'll be forced to confess something that you don't want everyone to know. Dee-Dee knows all the secrets on Coronation Street.
She's got that kind of face that
she's just got this really honest, and you feel like she'll help you no matter what. But no, she'll force anything out of you.
So is Ed going to do something that makes her? She doesn't seem. She's not vindictive.
She's a good Christian woman.
They've really kind of made more of that just in the past week or so, because you're right, she said this, God's thrown you a lifeline. There's one bit where this week she says, "May God forgive you." It's almost like they remembered, oh yeah, we said she was a Christian back when Paul was going through this crisis of faith or whatever back in the summer. And they're not always very good at writing Christians, we've said, or any people of faith in the past. They like throw in these lines just to tip their hat to it, and then they forget about it again.
I think it probably helps that the actress who plays her, Shanique, as far as I know, only from her social media, that she seems to be religious herself.
Oh yeah, she's mega religious.
So I feel as though they are being respectful of her personal beliefs, and perhaps it also gives them a bit of inspiration. Like, what would Shanique do? She would forgive. I think you're right. I do like how they've incorporated the actress's faith into her character. Because I don't know about the other. It feels sometimes a bit shoehorned in. I don't. Well, because it happens so rarely. But there have been other Christians, prominent Christians in the show, and I'm going to say it's not been obvious to me whether the actors have been people of faith. And, it's not like one of these, should gay characters only be played by gay actors? Obviously, you don't have to be religious to play a religious character, but I do feel in this instant it hasn't hurt at all. No, it's not.
But
And then
if you are
Dee-Dee's-
religious, you don't go on about it all the time. But equally, you don't just
It
remember it
influences your
once every
behaviour.
3 months.
It influences your behaviour in certain ways.
Yeah, I'd like to see more of an exploration of that.
I'd like to
with
see
Dee-Dee.
her in church.
Yeah, definitely. So, how do you feel about Michael's reaction to all of this?
Well, he's forgiven him again, isn't he? And said, "I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like it was faulty wise. It wasn't your fault, Dad."
I'm a little
He's
bit...
It's just delaying it again. They're just going to
It
be in
is.
that. Michael's losing his mind again.
Because I love this
happen.
family, I want them to be harmonious, because God, there's just so few examples of harmoniousness,
family.
harmony in Coronation Street. And I know these kids have grown up and they should have moved out years ago. I suppose Dee-Dee has.
Dee-Dee went to
but
Chicago.
I want them to get on. And you're right, we're now in a situation where it's only a matter of time before Michael loses it again and wants to throw Ed out again. I just need it to be over with, really. But no, I think it's been a lot of fun, and I very much appreciated the twist that he actually did it. So yeah, good stuff. Can I, just before we move on, I would like to give a particular shout out to Shanique Sterling Brown, who the performance that she gave on Monday's episode I thought was fab. I thought that's kind of one of her strongest scenes so far. She's been given a fair amount to do since she come in. I can't help but compare what they do with Dee-Dee to what they do with Glenda, who still is just there propping up the bar, isn't she, a lot of the time, and making funny quips. But they've tried to give Dee-Dee a few more stories. She's a character with a lot of heart. There's a lot to love about her. She's not like super funny, but
She's moral without being lectury and
Yeah.
Condescending and
yeah, and she's not dumb in any way. She's clearly a very
one of the
smart
smartest
woman.
women on the street.
And yeah, so I just think
if
that
not the
those
smartest character.
those scenes on Monday's episode when she was when she found out of the truth about Dad and was having a go, I thought she did a really, really good job.
I like her.
I told her so much on Instagram. I sent her a message
good.
and said, "Good job, Shanique."
What did she say?
She
May
said
God
thank you.
forgive you.
No, she said thank you. She did reply to me. Cheers, Shanique.
Well, good for you, Michael.
Yeah.
Brown noser.
I also
What?
I just got a note here about Bobby, bloody Bobby. I'll avoid talking about him too much, but that bit when Craig comes to the factory to pick up Michael earlier in the week, and Bobby's like, "Oh no, it's the fuzz."
Why did he say that?
They've
Almost
they have
every
toned
line
him.
they give him,
No,
it's like, why is he saying that?
I agree with that. They're not making every line a joke, but sometimes it just is like, "Oh, something's happened. What's Bobby's commentary on this going
What
to be?"
does Bobby
I don't
think?
care.
We
Shut
must
up,
know.
Bobby. Just please be quiet,
It's
Bobby.
okay. It's not. It's really mean.
I thought it was kind of funny when Beth plants a big smacker on Craig's cheek, and he's like, "Mum." I mean, it was. I can't believe that she would actually do that. He's been a policeman long enough for her to know that he really doesn't
He's got
appreciate.
no boundaries.
But it was kind of funny. Right, so the Bethany storyline, who has been particularly notable by her absence the last few weeks after coming back with a bang at New Year's Eve, but back into the forefront on Monday's episode, and she's still got a few bits of mysteries that we're not too sure what's going on there. By the way, tally up another week of we still don't know who Lauren's mystery man is on the chalkboard. Have you got any chalk left in your little stub that it's become because it's been so long? But anyway, Bethany, we find out from a conversation with her and Daniel that she is working on an investigative piece, very secretive about it. He doesn't seem to notice.
I'm confused about this because it feels as though she didn't have this angle until she got inspiration during the week for it. So what was her plan before this?
What, did she get inspiration later on in the week? I thought that she finds something else to talk about when she goes.
Well, what was her original plan then?
Well, we
That's
still
what I
don't
mean.
know. Yeah, we don't know. We don't know then, and we still don't know now what she's
she's up to.
She clearly came back to Weatherfield.
How much are they paying?
Well, not enough because she's £600 in the red. We
But
find
that's
out
what
later.
I mean. Like, as somebody who employs freelance writers, I don't know how she thinks she's making money here. What's she doing?
I don't know.
When I was a freelancer, I didn't just do that. Was not my only job. I had to do other things.
She's caught whiff of this story that is apparently the most groundbreaking, shocking, front page making bit of news that ever has graced a newspaper. And she just needs the right angle for it. I mean, if I was a journalist, I'd probably camp out in Coronation Street as well,
I
because
know.
you could. I mean, they do fill out magazines every week about what happens in the soaps, but whatever it is, it's feeling like it probably is the Stephen story, because that's what she would know about. Is she trying
Or
to
is it the
rat
acid
her
attack
uncle?
stuff?
I don't
It's
know.
one of those two.
Probably.
But I'm going to say, if it is the acid attack one, and that's why she came to the show, they made a big mistake because she immediately alienated Daisy, and she would have known who Daisy was. I refuse to believe that she's an investigative reporter who came to write that story, and then immediately the subject of the story that would be the sympathetic person that you're writing about, you just, call her a bitch and sleep with her boyfriend.
But I don't think
What
that...
an idiot. What a stupid thing to do.
I don't know. I don't think she realised what was going on.
She
Anyway,
doesn't know what this woman looks like.
I don't know.
You can't be telling me
Okay.
that she didn't know the very basic elements of this woman's life who has been... You know that she's Daniel's fiance because
Yeah,
she
alright
was
then.
going to get married to him, and that's why the acid got thrown on her face. None of this would be secret information. She would have gone to the... She's been to the courts. When the trial's ongoing, this stuff isn't normally necessarily public knowledge and necessarily, but there was nothing protecting her information. There's no secret, subject A, or we're not revealing the name of so and so, or come in this way, Daisy. You can. They could have made that into a story. You don't have to confront him in court. You could be videoed and do your testimony that way. None of that happened. Bethany would be dumb if she didn't know what Daisy looked like. And then the fact that she's going out with that.
Well, maybe that's not the story that she's working on.
Well, that's
then.
what I'm saying. It better not be.
Basically, she spends most of Monday's episode just getting the free Wi-Fi in the Rovers, much to Daisy's displeasure. And Bethany accuses her of being sexist because she'll go and serve a table of men, but not her. But it's just more of the cattiness that we've seen a little bit before a few weeks ago. And Daniel says, "Look, you can have a key to my flat, and you can come and use my Wi-Fi whenever I want."
Because she's staying with Sarah and Damon. Who's there? No one. No one's there during the day. This is so stupid.
Sarah doesn't strike me as the sort of person that needs internet, and she probably doesn't know how a computer works, does she?
I only use it for my Wordle, and that's just a few gigabytes a month.
That's I get that on my 3G.
I just phone my mum up and she reads me off Facebook what's happening.
Wednesday we've got another meet up between Daniel and Bethany, and she's like, right, I've got a friend who maybe needs a little bit of work. So do you know anyone at the Gazette that could help put them into give them a good pointer? And he says, oh yeah, Suki, you remember her? So she's
better if you shag her, but I guess you can't.
So she said, thank you very much. So she goes back to the Red Bank, and this is when she interrupts another Damon and Sarah snogging sesh. And he says to Sarah, oh, by the way, I'm going to need somewhere to stay because the place that I'm renting at need me out. Oh, I wonder what could happen there. So this afterwards is when we see Bethany discovering that, well, not discovering, just reminding us, I suppose, that she's got very
Debts.
little money. Yeah, debts of £600 in the bank account.
Hang on, that's not debt, darling. That's called overdraft. And that's perfectly acceptable.
Okay. Anyway, she starts chatting about being poor to Sarah, but then she gets a text from Suki, and off they go to have a little chat about that. Meanwhile, Daisy is really peed off in the pub. She's pulling some frothy pints, isn't she? Which Daisy notices. And
Jenny notices.
Yeah, Jenny notices, sorry, and she correctly predicts that it's down to Bethany. But also, we find out later from Daisy that she's getting proper narked off that Jenny is treating her as a bit of a skivvy, isn't she?
She's still acting she owns it, and Daisy's just her.
This is the
slave.
beginnings of the Jenny Daisy feud that was clearly going to happen at some point this year.
This is better. Sorry.
No, go on.
This is better than what they did with Tracy and Steve. They're showing us. They're not telling us. There's no Jenny going, oh, Kirk, you want a pint? Oh, if Daisy was here, I guess she could do it, but we're having trouble at the moment. We're having a bit of a tiff. See how much better it is. Everybody knows this is how you tell stories.
We also had a little... There's more. There's kind of lots of stories bundled into one here. There was the little saga of Gail and her green thing from the Gregory Pope shop that she can wrap her wrap her jigsaw up in, and Sarah talking to her about how things are getting serious between her and Damon. David. Oh, this is the scene where they start listing off a load of Sarah's boyfriends, don't they? She's like, oh no, me and Damon, we're for keeps now. And Damon's like, oh yeah, just
David.
like with Gary. Sorry, David. Just like with Adam. Just like with Jason.
Scooter
and
Laguna.
I can't remember whether it was Sarah or David.
She said Scooter on the way out.
That's it. I think long-term Corrie fans across the country were saying, Scooter, what about Scooter? And,
certainly were.
and definitely did not expect her to actually say it, but
there was a lot of good callbacks. So this was Wednesday.
Wednesday's episode was Callback City.
Who wrote this?
David,
they did a really
Albert,
good job.
Scooter Makuna.
It's good. Thank you for that, Corrie.
Yeah. So Bethany and Suki meet up in the cafe, and Suki's like, well, and there's no jobs going in the Gazette at the moment, but I know a friend who works for Chit Chat magazine, and maybe you could get a job for that. And Bethany's like, oh, yeah, I don't really fancy it. I'm used to writing for proper magazines. Bethany?
What a snob.
I know, proper snob.
She's like, I'd rather work for a local paper than Chit Chat magazine. You must be kidding me. They're the same thing.
I don't know how Chit Chat and all the others haven't gone down the pan since all the Brent
Also,
drama of a few years ago.
What do you mean writing for Chit Chat?
What do I mean?
Well, I mean, what does that mean? I guess it makes sense in a way.
Someone's got to put the arguments together about my brother bonked my sister's grandma.
But that would be, so she would be, if you're a journalist writing for Chit Chat, what you're doing is you're sifting through all of the reader submitted ideas and phoning people up and going, it says here your dog married your boyfriend. You tell me more about it, and then weaving a story out of that, which sounds honestly does sound bad. But
if you
need the money,
you need the money, and she's going to get it freelance, probably, isn't she? So yeah, proper snobbish.
Well, yeah, it's better to be a freelance because then you can work for anybody.
Yeah,
and if she's really that worried about it, why not do it under a pen name?
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't know, Crystal. Any name like that, just make
Crystal
up.
Knobs.
So. We also have the scene with David and Damon in Speed Dial, was it? I'm starting to warm to Damon. It's taken a lot of effort, but I don't kind of just shudder when he comes on the screen as much as I used to, and I'm thinking maybe he does just want to be a nice guy, because he certainly, the way he was talking to David about, I just want the best for Sarah, and he tries to hold out his hand for David to shake, and is it just me? And I know lots of other people listening have liked Damon all along, but are you still cold on him?
It's not impressed me that he shook David's hand.
He feels more genuine than he did before.
Dogs can do that.
We had Jenny talking to Bethany later in the pub about this rough time she's had with Ryan, and nothing really goes on there.
Well, hang on, no.
Beth comes in.
Beth gives her new hook.
What?
About Catfish Central.
Oh yes, she does, doesn't she? That's right. Beth kind of accidentally, on purpose, was it, drops Daisy in it by alluding to the fact that she was catfishing Ryan last year by pretending to be Crystal, and Bethany's like, oh, goss, eh? That sounds interesting, but Danny's like, nope, we are not talking about that.
Jenny just tries to change the subject several times.
Yeah, but Bethany's already hooked on this. She phones up Suki and says, well, I think I do have a story for Chit Chat after all, so that's going to get splashed around the magazines next week probably, and then there's the inevitable Sarah inviting Damon to move in with her at the end of the episode as well. So that was that. I was relatively nonplussed by this story this week.
I'll tell you another thing that annoyed me.
What?
When Daniel was saying, oh, I admire you, Bethany. It's better to be a writer, a journalist, than a teacher like me, the lowly scum that works.
That wasn't the exact line.
What the hell are you talking about? You can't say that writers and journalists are above teachers when the Daily Mail and autobiographical accounts of pop stars shagging each other exist. What are you talking about?
He just kind of goes down from magazine writer to teacher in the naughty school, which I don't think self-respect,
you idiot. What's wrong with being a teacher? This is the trouble with society. I know that this sounds like an old lady shouting at the sky, but really, teachers get treated like crap. Nobody would talk about any other profession like this, but teachers, because some people got put in detention and can't get over it, they will never shut up about how much they hate teachers. Yeah. Every single person that you see, they owe a teacher for teaching them what they know.
Yeah, Daniel, you wouldn't be so smart if it weren't for your
Teachers
poetry teacher
are-
growing up.
Teachers are parents, teachers are professors. Anyone who's taught you anything is a teacher. Stop being a snob, you
We're
absolute
teachers.
arsehole.
We teach you about Coronation Street
What?
every week.
I just think I want to set him on fire. I'll teach him a lesson.
I wish that I enjoyed this storyline more, because I was kind of, that sounds quite good when Bethany was going to come back. I think I do like the character of Bethany. I think she can be quite fun. There was that one bit, do you remember when she did the American accent? I can't remember what she was talking about there. That didn't work so well.
No.
But as a kind of bit of a bubbly, fun character, I do enjoy her. But having her and Daniel mooning after each other, even the cattiness with Daisy, it's not hooked me. But maybe there's something to come that's going to get me more invested in this. What about you?
Writers are teachers.
What about
Journalists,
you?
teachers.
Gemma, how are you enjoying this story? Stop. Just let it go.
No, I can't.
We know that you love teachers.
Just get on with it. Look, get on with it. What is Bethany's secret? Get on with what is Lauren's secret. I don't care anymore. Get on with it.
Okay.
Size of scouse.
Calm down. He's not a scouse.
Size of scouse.
Souse, Gemma. Souse.
On Monday, Simon wakes up.
Is there any coincidence that souse and scouse are just one letter away from each
I'm
other?
not saying anything. It's nothing to do with me.
I love Liverpool.
When did you go?
I've been to Liverpool before. Not for a while, I admit.
I bet you very few Liverpudlians have come to Southampton. How about that? You're missing out on all of our walls.
Yeah.
On Monday, Simon wakes up and there's booze and pizza all over the place.
Oh yeah, he wakes
can't
up
believe
in Leanne's flat.
that everybody's just letting him dominate the front room while they're all trying to sleep, playing on computers and drinking and boozing and eating. Rude. So he realises that in his drunken stupor, he's spilled beer all over some important paperwork that Nick's printed out. And when Nick's like, "Oh, have you seen my papers for my meeting?" He's like, "Oh no, I don't know." But he prints them all out and gives them to him in the bistro.
Crisis averted.
I know, that was a really important part of Monday's episode.
I don't know.
They're like, "You're such a good kid, thank you for this. Why don't you get a job here?" And Nick does a squint, which means he's not sure. Or he's thinking, or he's happy, or he's sad. No one can really tell.
Yeah, Nick was definitely prime Nick of what this week. And Leanne, poor blimey, Leanne was back to her Mardiest best, wasn't she?
Well, she goes to the factory and asks Carla to give Simon a second chance because he's not coping. So when Simon sees Carla in the cafe, she says, "I'll give you a second chance, but I don't need to because Peter said you can work on his boat." So he's like, "Hurrah!" So he starts packing and Nick and Leanne find him. He's really happy. But then Peter phones him up and says, "Oh, that job I gave you doesn't exist. Sorry about that." And he's gutted and they all look really awkward. And Leanne says, "Go back to the factory and ask for your job back."
Yeah, the story was that there had been a position vacant, but Peter didn't check before
saying
asking
you could have it.
and somebody else
Like
actually
he
already
owns,
had it.
like he's the skipper.
Peter.
You're not the skipper, Peter. So he goes to the bistro and he overhears Carla and Bobby talking about how there's no job, basically, for
Yeah, they've moved on from
Simon.
Simon. Bobby somehow is
brilliant.
amazing
Everything.
at marketing. And yeah, there's no place for
He's
Simon
sad.
at Underworld. Yeah.
So on Wednesday,
This was a bit like with Ed last week, wasn't it? When he's like, "I'm going to move into my friend's flat and I'm going to have this." And what was the other thing
lot
that he
of
was
this-
going to have? I don't
sell
remember.
sell his thing.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Gary.
Sell the yard to Gary. Everything's coming up Bailey. But then like, no, can't have this, can't have that, and it was just the same again.
On Wednesday, Leanne says to Simon, "Go and ask for your job back," and he says, "There's no point." And then Leanne tells Nick that he's going to have to work there. So Simon doesn't tell Carla that Peter's job offer fell through, but
Yeah, he tells Carla, "I turned down Peter's job offer. I turned down my dad's offer, doesn't he?
Work with you.
I really wanted to stay here in Weatherfield because I got a bistro job."
But anyway, he gets a job at the bistro, and Bobby comes round, and they're having a great time. But Leanne's getting annoyed because Simon's not concentrating. And then for some reason, on his first day, they decide that the best thing to do is to have him lock up.
Notorious Alky. Let's have him lock up. Give him the
Well,
keys.
just the first day on your job, you shouldn't have responsibility for locking up. But they're like, the Troy's like, "So you know how you lock up, don't you? You get the key and you put it in the lock and you turn it." And he's like, "Yeah, I know." And
what could possibly go wrong?
Then you just leave him there. And Simon and Bobby are just left there with some patrons who haven't gone yet.
Yeah.
Just
and the keys to the alcohol cabinet. So I don't know how much of that's going to be left by Monday morning, which I guess is going to be set on Friday.
Well, he can't ask his dad for a new liver.
This is true. Yeah, so that was it, really. It was... Things happened in that story. Not so fussed about it.
Nepotism strikes again on the street.
I did enjoy Simon being happy, even if it was just for the briefest of moment, because he's a bit of a glowerer, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a bit of a
generally
grumpy brew.
unhappy is his default expression. So I liked seeing him chirpy.
We call him Sad Simon.
Yeah, but it didn't last. What do you think they'll drink the place dry, or they're gonna not open it? Will it be robbed by next episode?
Would you call Simon and Bobby frenemies? Do men have that?
They're tolerating each other more now.
Like two male cats in a house? Like they could fight at any moment, or they might just wheel on furniture.
Yeah, just like that. Okay, then we had the Paul storyline, which was basically nothing apart from Moses deciding or declaring that he's going to go down to London to live, because now he's been told, sorry, you can't be a carer for Paul anymore because Bernie dobbed you in. He's like, well, there's nothing here left for me. Bernie is still falling over herself to apologise for the whole situation that, yes, she was clearly responsible for, but anyway, that's by the by.
Cost of living in
Off he goes.
Manchester, Moses. I mean, it's not going to be lower in London, but I will tell you there are plenty of cities you can live cheaper than Manchester, even down south.
He's got a job there though, hasn't he? He's going to wash cars for his cousin. Oh, how the mighty
sounds like
have fallen. Was he mighty? I suppose
Mighty
he was.
Moses.
He's a physiotherapist.
He's going to go and help his cousin.
Yeah.
He's going to go help his cousin.
What I'm going to say is
launder money, because everyone knows that.
I think that when Moses washes the car, but to rinse the car off, he does the part of the Red Sea kind of thing, and it just dries the car just like that.
Do you think that he does have biblical powers?
Well, we haven't seen any evidence that he doesn't have biblical powers to part water yet.
Is that why they're always asking him to get Paul out the bath?
Yeah. What else
he
did
just
Moses...
goes like that and he gets him instantly dry.
Moses also, didn't he turn a stick into a snake or something? I can't remember.
Or was it a snake into a stick?
I don't remember.
Was it him in the burning bush?
Yeah. He
was it
to a burning bush.
Floating down
Moses.
a river? Babies?
That wasn't really a power. He just got put in a basket in Egypt.
The power of surviving rivers in a basket.
There we go. Is this really the end of Moses already?
No.
Better not be. I already I invested in Lurch last year, and we got him for what? 3 episodes?
Bring back Lurch.
Don't do this, Corey. Don't bring in another was Lurch charming character, I was going to say. Moses is, anyway. I wasn't expecting him to be a long-term character, but I thought he'd last a lot longer than this. So I hope that something happens next week to help him stay here in Weatherfield, because...
some kind of divine intervention.
Yeah. Anyway, that was it. That was it for this week's Corrie. We said it'd be a short one. There was only 2/3 of the usual number of episodes to talk about, but I think we gave it a good fair shake this week, didn't we?
It wasn't a terrible week.
No, it wasn't a terrible week at all.
There's some good Rover scenes.
Both episodes this week had some really strong moments. There were definitely bits that I was like, whatever about. Mostly the Bethany story, to be fair. But Monday, all of the bits with the Baileys, I really loved. I think that Shanique was particularly fantastic. She's my character of the week. Dee-Dee, by the way, say no more. That was fab. The twist with Ed actually knowing about the fire. He's not an arsonist. There was something about if you let a fire burn, it's okay. You're not an arsonist. It's not as bad.
Who said that?
Maybe I read it online somewhere.
Maybe you made it up.
Maybe, yeah.
Is it like the fire?
I didn't stop the fire, but I didn't mean didn't start the fire.
We didn't start the fire.
So
is there a manslaughter equivalent for arson?
I don't know, but nobody died. It was fine. It was fine.
It kind of was my fault, but
so that was great on Monday. I really enjoyed the Tracy and Tommy stuff on Wednesday and everything in the pub. I'm gonna give this 4 biscuits to choose from on every tea break out of 5. Yeah,
nice.
4 for me. It was better than a 3.5.
Oh, it's 3.5 for me.
3.5 what?
Bereaved budgie owners.
Fair enough. A character of the week for you, darling?
I didn't have any ideas, but when you said Dee-Dee, that did resonate with me.
Dee-Dee really
she's
stood
been
out
a bit
to
of
me.
a workhorse, hasn't she, over the past, since she's come in, she's barely been off the screen, so we know that because we saw how many episodes she's been in. She hasn't had her own story. I'm hoping it's not going to turn out to be something with Joel, but I've got a sad suspicion that it will be. And he's got a secret.
Everyone online thinks that Joel is going to just blow us away with a massive reveal as to who he is now.
Yeah, because everyone's like, no one could be that boring on TV, but I'm going to tell you, that's not true.
I don't know. I think there might be a bit of truth in the fact that he's got some kind of is he Lauren's boyfriend, for example? Some of the rumours or theories
Who was
are
it that
saying.
had a secret sister?
I don't know.
Somebody's boyfriend had a secret sister. Do you remember?
No, I do not.
Does it not ring any bells?
No, it's not.
And he was definitely found out. Oh, it was Emma's boyfriend Curtis.
Yeah.
And it was. Was it somebody
sister?
from a? No. We thought it was a sister or a girlfriend, but wasn't it somebody from his support group? Am I making all this up? Do you know what I mean? There was a revelation where he knew somebody who was a woman, and we were like, "Oh, what's this? What's going on here?"
Maybe, I don't know. Curtis, I've wiped from my memory, to be honest. But yeah, Dee-Dee was fab this week.
Good job.
She put in a great performance, did Shanique. I think that she
the
wants to stand by her dad,
Yeah.
despite the fact that he's clearly done some very bad things for the family, because she is a good Christian girl, and I think he needs that
Sympathetic.
support. Yeah, and as an Ed fan, I'm glad that she's there fighting his corner.
There are a lot of people that are finding Michael a bit hysterical at the moment, which I think
Not me.
No, Michael Bailey.
Okay.
And a lot of people finding
not funny.
No. Ed rather unpleasant and irredeemable. But I still like the Baileys, but I will say that, Dee-Dee is the best of them. And we were waiting for Dee-Dee. She was the promised one. We had
waited many a year for
prophecies of
Dee-Dee.
her coming, and we knew, we foretold that she would be a great boon to the street, and she really has been. So well done, Shanique.
Character of the week.
Yeah.
Good job, Corey. I'm sad that we have to wait a bit longer for more Coronation Street, but I'm sure it's got to even itself all up in the end, isn't it? Because they order a certain number of episodes a year, so on weeks like this when there's two, it's going to catch up. But oh well, little breather for us, and it means we get a shorter Street Talk.